Hi everyone, I'm Leyla Salvade, the founder of Standing Light. Welcome to the LightStyle interview series. I'm so excited today to be at the DAYBREAKER headquarters with Radha Agrawal, CEO and co-founder of DAYBREAKER and THINX underwear. Thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me.
It's so awesome.
It's wonderful.
Shine a light on you.
Oh, thank you.
So this is unique to be here. Usually we're at the Standing Lighthouse headquarters, but we came all the way down to Brooklyn to shine a light on you, and we wanted to learn about this journey, this magical, mischievous journey that you've been on, and all the hearts that you're igniting across the world with DAYBREAKER, and also all the work that you're doing philanthropically with all the projects that you're endeavoring on. So tell us a little bit what's happening right now and all the things that you're up to.
Yeah. Well, first of all, thank you for having me, Leyla. It's good to see you. High five.
Yeah.
With DAYBREAKER, it really started out as an experiment, like anything. I think anything that we do in life is always something that we tinker with and we try. And so DAYBREAKER started out as a social experiment. My friend Matt and I, we sat down together and we were like, wow, nightlife is no longer fun. It's sort of overrun by mean bouncers, everyone on their cell phones, no one actually talking. And so the goal was, can we offer a different way to connect with one another? Can we offer a different way to let our hair down and dance authentically and not feel unsafe? And so that was sort of the beginning, the genesis of the idea. Then we've since grown. We're now in sort of 17 cities around the world. We have 350,000 community members waking up to dance all over the world. And today, the goal really, again, is to continue expanding the movement all across the world so that anybody who wants to sort of let their hair down, connect with one another, can have a space and place to do that. Two crazy statistics to share. 1 in 4 Americans report 0 friends to confide in.
Oh my gosh.
And that number has tripled in the last 30 years.
Wow.
And Harvard just came out with a crazy study that shows that having weak social ties is as harmful to your physical health as being an alcoholic, and twice as harmful as obesity. And so, isolation is actually an epidemic that's happening in this country, and it's something that we really want to solve here at DAYBREAKER. Another thing we just launched, actually, that I'm very excited to share is DAYBREAKER Campus, which is our campus project, where the goal, again, is to eliminate the need for the solo cup, right? And the idea, right? It's like, think about when you go out at night, you're having to just have a solo cup, and that's the way to connect with one another. And the idea is you don't need that solo cup in your hand anymore. You can actually just dance and do yoga and connect and self-express. We just launched at USC this past weekend.
I saw
and our goal is to be on 100 campuses by 2020. So, yeah.
That is so
it's
amazing.
exciting. It's really exciting.
And I love, side note, but with that, you're helping the environment by eliminating the plastic cup.
Oh, well, yeah. Yeah, bring your water bottle. Yeah, exactly.
Bring your jar, your mason jar.
Yeah, totally.
Amazing.
So,
wow. So DAYBREAKER started how long ago? When did that start?
Our launch was December 10th, 2013, and it started in New York City in the basement of a coffee shop in Union Square. And the goal, again, was just, to get our friends together to dance in the morning. And then quickly, 2 events later, a friend of ours who was moving to San Francisco said, I want to bring it there. And so it was a very organic experience. Like, none of it was like scale, right? Like, that's, I think, such an important part of entrepreneurship is how many employees you have or how big is your office. And I think it's just a very machismo way to look at entrepreneurship. And for us is like, let's just keep it slow and steady and have evergreen growth and have just have a very organic experience. If someone wants to bring it there, if we have enough excitement and energy galvanizing around a city, we will go to that city. So what we do now is we look to see how big our sign-up lists are before we go to a city. So Philadelphia is our next city.
Awesome.
Because we have almost 5,000 email sign-ups.
Wow.
From people who want us to come to Philly.
Yeah.
In Austin, Texas, we have 4,000 as well. So we're launching in Austin next month at Whole Foods, which is really fun, on their rooftop. So we actually look to see what the community actually wants before we go there. And so that's how we decide how fast we're going to grow and where to go.
I love that.
So.
And it's a sustainable growth that way. And you literally are creating it from the heart. And
Exactly.
you feel that,
Thank you.
When you go to a DAYBREAKER, and I had the pleasure of going to one literally almost exactly a year ago.
Really?
Yes.
No kidding.
That just hit me.
Wow.
anniversary.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah.
Aw, beautiful.
Oh my gosh, yeah. And E, our mutual friend, took us, who's also part of the series.
Yeah. Oh, cool.
Yeah, so amazing. I mean, and you feel it. Like, you just enter into this space that it's just radical acceptance.
That's the whole idea. You know, I think for us, it's like, let's actually turn every aspect of the nightlife experience on its head. So instead of a mean bouncer, we actually have a mandatory hugging committee. So literally every city has at least 3 huggers at the door to welcome you into the experience, that like sort of judge you and sort of right size you up. And I think that's you know, and then when you come in, you know, sort of instead of alcohol, we have an open bar situation. Instead of having to wait in line and put your ID and the whole thing, you just like come in and take it and sort of come as you go. It feels very much like you're coming into our living room. Right. And you know, we have green juice, coffee, and tea and breakfast treats.
Best living room of all time, by the way.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. And it's no alcohol as well.
No alcohol. And that's a very big part of our expression is that you don't have to, you can self-express without the need to change your sort of cellular structure, right?
Exactly.
And you can just come and really authentically let go. And that's something that I feel like we don't often shine a light on enough on that sort of individuality.
Seriously. Yeah. So take us back a little bit, because your story is amazing, and I would love to shine a light on that as well and help people realize, you know, where you came from and how it inspired what you're doing now. Yeah,
so I mean, you know, I moved to New York a month before 9/11.
Oh, wow.
To take you back a little bit, and I moved here as an investment banker, actually. So I was kind of on the dark side, though. You know, though I really credit investment banking to sort of to teach me about work ethic, what 100-hour work weeks look like, what sacrifice, what spreadsheets look like, and not to be afraid of them. And I think that was a great training ground for me to sort of realize after 9/11, first of all, that I wasn't excited about investment banking whatsoever, and that 9/11 really showed me that the mystery of life is that you never know when it's going to end, you know, and it's time to pursue passion right now. You know, stop the presses, and of course, I understand the crippling student debt, student loan that we're faced with, which is the #1 issue in America right now that we have to deal with. And so I do understand the sort of the fiscal responsibility that we as graduates need to fulfill. But if we can actually align our passions with our purpose, with our profession, that's really the dream, right? And so for me, 9/11 happened, and I'm like, you know what? What do I care about? And I did this assessment, and actually I'm writing a book about this. It's about how to sort of find your passion and how to build community around it. But the idea is to really sit down and think about, like, what do I care? What are my values? What are my interests? What are my abilities? I call it the VIA, right? Your VIA assessment. And so in doing that, sort of, I really realized that I really want to go into film and community and the world of creative, and so then went into that world for 6 years in advertising, marketing, and the film business.
Wow!
So I worked with the Coen brothers and George Lucas and all kinds of wonderful filmmakers, but in the realm of commercials. So in between movies, a lot of these filmmakers will do a Budweiser commercial or a Chase Bank commercial or an Apple computer, you know, an Apple commercial. And so I got to really go on these sets and see just how much care and love and storytelling and thought went into advertising something, sort of a product. And so that, again, was a great training ground for me as a young sort of production assistant, into production manager, to really understand all that goes into the storytelling of a business, of a product, of a service. So going from investment banking, from the business side, the spreadsheet side, into the storytelling, advertising side, it was, again, just a wonderful business school for me. And then I opened a restaurant with my sister at 25. Almost 12 years ago now, over 12 years ago now, and that was our first foray into entrepreneurship. Was taking, you know, what we learned in the space of production and applying those same skill sets to the restaurant business. Instead of having a production assistant, you need prep cooks, right? Instead of, right, so all the different sort of things that you need in production, you can really apply that to anything. If you build a team, I think what you're doing right now, you're building an amazing team. And for me, you know, you can't build anything without the team behind you. So
100%.
Daybreaker is very much, it's an absolute team effort.
Yeah.
And, you know, if you pan the camera right behind, there's an incredible team who is absolutely the backbone of Daybreaker and of the growth of this movement. And so it's never just one person, it's a community of people. And in every city that we are in Daybreaker, we have 2 community producers, 2 what we call community catalysts in every city. So we have almost 40 producers all over the world who shine a light on their cities, who bring sort of the cultural nuance into their cities. So anyway, so that's a big part of building any business is not just the single individual, but the collective. So so that was the beginning of that, the restaurant business, then into Super Sprouts, my startup that I ran for 5 years, and that was a very big learning for me, just around who to take money from. And I raised $5 million for that business, but really worked with misaligned investors. And again, no harm, no foul on them. You know, I think when you're working with traditional investors, and we're building a non-traditional company and in a non-traditional environment, it's really hard to mix and mingle. And so I always tell, you know, funds that I meet with that we are very unorthodox. We are not the type of company that you typically invest in that's going to scale and focus on the bottom line. That we're very much about people first and organic growth, and the profits will follow. You know, it's like you have to be patient. Man.
It's so true.
You know, and I think that so often, you know, you have these, and I'm not even joking, I'd sit in these investor meetings, and guys will like put their hands behind their backs like this. Tell me about your business and I'm just like, what is your posture? Why are you talking to me like that?
Yeah, it's a power
move.
move.
It's a power move.
Yeah.
And it's just like the machismo behind investing needs to be overhauled completely, because believe it or not, more women are starting businesses than men now. There are 500,000 businesses every year being opened by women now, more than men, and there are more women graduating college than there are men now. Go ladies.
That statistic I did not know.
Yeah,
Wow.
and so the future is absolutely female. The present is also female, not just the future. And so it's our time now to show and teach investors. It's to teach business leaders how to empathize with sort of this really difficult endeavor, which is building anything
absolutely.
of value requires, you know, so much effort, so much sort of wearing many hats, right? Like I have meetings with my accountants and my bookkeepers. I have meetings with my tax guy, my lawyers. I have meetings with my creative team and talking about design and copywriting. Teams with biz dev and partnerships, talking about new city growths and interviewing new candidates for new cities. It's just nonstop,
all
right?
Writing a book.
Yeah, all while writing a book, and all while thinking about, okay, how do we stay on top of the game so that the competitors don't come and swallow us up. So I have so much respect for, you know, my mentors like John Mackey, who founded Whole Foods, and what he's building and how he's dealing with haters and sort of encroaching competition and being a public company and dealing with investors and just all the things that one has to deal with. It's just not easy. And it's easy to shit on entrepreneurs. It's easy to shit on female entrepreneurs, especially because there's so many, what my twin sister called hate-hers. Not just haters, but hate-hers.
Wow.
And so much criticism comes from women on women.
That's so true.
And it's just like, you know, so many of these crappy, you know, kind of negative articles that I read about both THINX and Daybreaker come from female reporters.
Wow.
And it's just like, why don't you shine a light on each other? Like,
exactly.
You're not living in my shadow, you're living in my light.
Yeah.
You know, and I'm living in yours. You know, and that's the thing. It's like, if we can just live in each other's light and not think
realize
of each other's
that
shadows.
We're mirrors for one another, right?
Yeah,
And to shine, to reflect our light onto one another and realize we're gonna have shitty moments. It's gonna happen. Like, that's called life. And to enlighten them with the help of one another and transcend through and then be able to stand in our light. I mean,
That's the key.
Yeah, that's
and
the
to
key.
forgive each other every day, and to
yeah.
be able to cry with one another, and to be
Yes.
able to have these
Vulnerable
moments. You know, Malka, who's standing behind the camera over there, I was talking to her about this the other day. Of there's some days where we, you know, where I'm in a good mood and she's in a good mood, and it's great, and it's love fest.
Fireworks.
And then there's some days where I'm in a good mood and she's in a bad mood, and I'm there to protect her and make her feel better. There's gonna be some days where she's in a great mood and I'm in a bad mood, and she sort of, what can I do for you? How can I help? And there's days where we're both in bad moods. How do we deal with those days? And how can we respect one another in those days? And it's always an experiment every time, and it's always a moment for us to grow and learn from those moments. And it's those moments that you grow sort of, you know, what's the opposite of hair on your chest? It's you grow, you know, sort of more
Heart. You grow heart.
You grow heart. Yeah. And
we just compared hair to heart, but whatever.
So
We'll make it sexy somehow. Just wax it.
Yeah, exactly.
So with everything that we just touched on, what would you say was one of those darkest moments that propelled you forward?
Yeah, you know, sometimes you don't think those moments will propel you forward until well down the line.
Yeah.
But something I always sort of grabbed onto and held onto is this idea that things aren't happening, you know, at you; they're happening for you.
And that's one of my favorite
or
quotes.
they're not happening to you; they're happening for you. And so for me, actually a year and a half ago, I was sitting in a board meeting. I guess it's 2 years ago now. I was sitting in a boardroom meeting, 4 men in suits and myself, and I'm the CEO of my company, and the founder. And they're sitting around me, and they said, "Radha, you stay here. Boys, let's go outside and talk business."
Wow.
And this happened to me a year and a half. This is like
Oh
not.
my gosh.
This is
It
in
makes my blood boil.
Boys, let's go outside and talk business. And I remember sitting there in shamed silence. Actually, I was too ashamed to say no. I'm coming with you, or I was too ashamed to even just talk about it for months and months and months afterwards. I just kept quiet about it, because what do you do in those moments? Except, you know, we are shamed as women. We are shamed in our silence. We are taught to be inferior to men from the moment we're born. We live in a masculine world, and so we're constantly thinking of the other first, and as such, we're comparing ourselves.
Right.
So we take that otherness of wanting to actually serve the other, but then begin judging ourselves, comparing ourselves in that service of one another.
Yeah, the vicious cycle.
And that's a vicious cycle. So it turns into this egocentric experience instead of an experience of actual, authentic otherness. Anyways, so the dark moment for me happened when I had to drop the mic and walk away from Super Sprouts after 5 years of building this baby that I cared so much about. We were reaching 1 million children around the country. We had just opened up a program in the schools in Compton, every single school in Compton. It was the first ever salad bar program in these schools, 125 schools. We brought in a salad bar program to get these schools to offer salad to their children, vegetables to their children, healthy program to their children. We had a curriculum, a whole really colorful salad bar that we created with these like bright, colorful characters around it.
I saw them. They were so cute,
yeah,
too.
and then we launched in 250 schools in Puerto Rico in Spanish. And we were just building and growing, and the momentum was there, and it just, we had internal strife. We just, that's what happens to most businesses. It's not the external side of it. It's that there's egos and jealousy and just so much stuff on the inside of these businesses that we end up eating each other.
Yeah.
We end up imploding because of our inability to see the bigger picture.
Yeah.
You know, and in this case, the bigger picture was helping children.
Right.
You know, helping kids eat more vegetables, reducing the obesity epidemic that's plaguing our country. But instead, we were riddled with power struggles, and it broke my heart, and it continues to break my heart that I had to walk away from this project that I know was making a difference for self-preservation. I could have fought for it. I could have done a lot around it, but I just said, you know what, good luck, and I have so many more ideas to offer the world. I have so much more energy. I don't want the energy to be plagued by this machismo and this and this inability to communicate what I want our end goal to be and what you want your end goal to be. And yeah, of course we all want to make money. Of course we want to scale and make profits, you know, but ultimately the goal is to do both, double bottom line, do good and do well, is to actually, when you go and you die in your grave, like, what do you want? To have a pile of cash on top of you? Or do you want to say, hey, I help to inspire so many hearts, so many spirits. I help to get people out of their comfort zone, out of their shell, and into their heart, into their bodies, and dance and self-express into their bodies, and feed their temple, nourish it. And so that's been the darkest part for me, is just like navigating this crazy world of investors and sort of boards, and then having to manage up and manage down to your team, and having all of the press and media want to get you with clickbait, you know, and all these people who want to see you fall, not because they don't love you, but because they're in this vicious cycle of judgment and perfectionism, that they may want you to succeed but secretly want you to fail, and because it makes them feel better. It just so it takes a lot to be sitting here, both of us, and to be anyone who's sort of taking a stand, because everybody wants to knock you down. So that's the hard part to sort of kind of come to terms with, you know, and then have that inner strength. I'm reading a book right now. It's called Unshakable Confidence. Everybody read it. It's for women. Can I actually show the book, because it's really an amazing book. Right. My boyfriend Eli's mother gave it to me yesterday. It's called Unshakable Confidence, and it's the freedom to be our authentic selves. It's mindfulness for women, and it really is a terrific book, and it just talks about how much we judge each other, how much we live in the sort of realm of otherness, of how we're so conditioned to be sort of comparing and wanting to sort of serve the other and forget all about our own authenticity, our own selves. And it's a beautiful book. And I just started reading yesterday, and I already sent it to many friends to read, and highly recommend all of you out there to read it.
Awesome. Thanks for sharing that.
Yeah. And my book also is about community building, and basically open sources every single thing I've ever learned about what we did at Daybreaker, how I built community with $0 in marketing, from 0 to 300,000 community members with our team. You know, sort of all that goes into building a community from scratch. All the thought and the intention, the sort of core values. Think about the constraints, the rituals, the aesthetics, the sort of the language. There's so much that goes into creating community, and
it's a movement.
Thank you. Yes, it is a movement, but anybody can do it if you have the tools. And my goal is to sort of, my number one kernel, my focus, my why in life is belonging. I really believe that if every single human felt belonging and felt they had a place in life, there'd be no ISIS, there'd be no Trump, there'd be no war, there'd be nothing, because we'd all feel belonging. We'd all have this place to call home that we can crawl into and say, I just feel safe here. I feel seen here. I feel authentically myself here. So the goal of the book is to help you kind of go in first, see all of your own colorful spectrum of judgment, perfectionism, and ego, and all the things that we deal with before we go out. So you have to go in to go out is sort of my sort of my main point. And then before you go to build your dream community, let's just take a few
create your
moments.
Own dream community within yourself.
Exactly.
It's like your own. How is your relationship with yourself? You know, how is your relationship with your inner child?
Right.
How much do you love yourself?
Exactly.
How much are you willing to take care of yourself? And
right. Exactly.
It is. It's the inward journey first before.
Yeah.
I mean, even in the plane, you have to put on your own mask
totally.
before your own child.
Exactly. And exactly. But we're taught to other and taught to before we're like, wait a minute, what do I want? What do I care about? What do I want to, what light do I have to shine?
Exactly. Yeah. So your book is called Belonging.
It's called Belong.
Belong.
Yeah,
okay.
Belong: How to Master Relationships and Build Community.
Okay.
Yeah, and I'm illustrating the whole book myself as well.
That's so amazing.
So it's a really, and again, because I think books for me are very hard to read.
Mm-hmm.
I have a hard time finishing any book, because
Are you a visual person?
I'm a very visual
Same
person. And I'm pretty ADD about
Yeah.
books, and I learn best by conversation and
Totally.
and connecting with people.
Mm-hmm.
And so I really want this book, in the same way Daybreaker is an experience, I want the book to be an experience.
Yeah.
So when you read the book, you're like, what? Wow. We call our moments at Daybreaker wow moments.
Oh, I love that.
And so we actually invite wow moments. So our horn section, our fire dancers,
Yeah.
our aerialists, our, sort of our dueling saxophonists, these are all wow moments.
Yeah, they seriously are. I've experienced it.
So I want every page to feel like a wow moment.
Yeah.
Like, what are you going to see next? Like, how are you going to experience this book and all my crazy thoughts?
Which
through
are
my
wonderful
illustrations,
because,
yeah.
look at everything you've created. And
you.
I had the pleasure of seeing some of your sketches. And it's rare that I get excited about books, but
Thank you.
I am pre-ordering that one.
Oh my gosh, awesome.
Seriously.
Well, one thing I'm also excited about the book is that it's actually, I talk about this in community building, is participation.
Yeah.
So it's a very participatory book where you actually write, draw, rip pages out, kind of really participate in the book. So it's
Yeah.
not just a one-way conversation where I'm talking at you,
Yeah.
but we're actually having this two-way experience together.
Yeah.
So when you read the book, it's not just me talking. It's really, hey, let's do this together. Or, hey, let's cut this out and put this on your mirror. Do this or do that. So it's a very participatory experience. Yeah.
Everything happens for a reason, right? And you said things happen for you, not to
Yes.
you. And just looking back on everything you shared, it's certain, like the sprouts, the
Super sprouts,
didn't work out because now you're probably gonna do something even more incredible with your book and go into schools and help them in that way, right? So,
Absolutely. And I also think that Daybreaker wouldn't be here when I had to, drop the mic and walk away from Super Sprouts. I thank God I had Daybreaker as my side project and a passion project, because I was able to just dive in, and we went from 4 cities to 15 cities in 1 year.
Wow.
Because when you're in pain and you can really channel that to something else, and I was so I was just so inspired by that pain in some ways. And one of my girlfriends, Leah, said this to me. I said, what are you grateful for? And she said, I'm grateful for fear. And I thought that was a really beautiful thing to think about.
How powerful.
Yeah, I'm grateful for fear.
Wow.
Yeah, and I think that so often we think of fear as something that is painful and negative, but actually it's something to be grateful for. So that was a moment for me of realizing that then I can channel all of that into Daybreaker, see this movement grow, feel the love back, and feel and we have no investors at this company. It's fully for the people, by the people, and that feels so good. We don't have any fiduciary responsibility to report to anybody.
Yeah.
We can grow it as quickly as we want or as slowly as we want, and it just feels so right.
Yeah.
So I think, I think the key learning that I'm going to put in the book as well is just to build community. It's a very slow and thoughtful process, and I think that what I really want to inspire businesses out there and anyone watching, any brand manager watching, that this isn't you shouldn't just think about a community manager as a lowest on the totem pole person that you hire out of college and pay the minimum wage to do social media. I call it community architecture. And community architecture is actually a very thoughtful thing, and it should be in the same level as a CEO, CMO, COO. A chief community architect is actually a vital role in any growth of any organization, and I think should be thought of as important as a marketing officer. Marketing and community are sort of in the same world, but we have continuously put all of our efforts into the marketing vein, feeding that vein, instead of focusing on a slower growth, more thoughtful growth, more attentive growth, but ultimately more sustainable. We spent $0 in marketing and advertising Daybreaker, maybe $20 on boosting a Facebook post here and there, but really, our goal is to show that you don't need marketing if you have a beautiful community who believes and understands and feels the authenticity, because they will share it for you. And that's really what we want to inspire both on college campuses now and in cities, because we are lonelier and more isolated than ever before. So this book again, and everything we're doing, everything in life for me is about helping connect humans and eradicate isolation and bring us all to a sense of belonging.
Yeah.
Radha,
you're the epitome of a standing light, literally, and what you are living is the epitome of a light style as well. You're just shining your light so brightly, and I honor you so much for that. And the final question is, what does light style mean to you?
I think LightStyle is a I guess an aspirational space to play in. I think to really get to the light style, you have to go through the dark style as well.
100%.
And I think we're dealing with that sort of light style, dark style every day in our own heads, in our own worlds, and to be human is to feel a spectrum of all these emotions.
Totally.
So you can't feel the light style if you can't get to the light style unless you go through all of the tumult of all the colors in between. But I think LightStyle is an aspirational place, and one that we all continue to strive for every day. But I think embracing, again, all of our colorful spectrum is what actually ultimately makes the white light, is all that color.
Absolutely.
And so that was what it means to me.
I love that. So. Thank you for that. And it's so true. We have dark and light, we have night and day. It's everything. And I love it.
And the earth and our planet is our biggest teacher in that.
100%. Yeah.
So let's continue honoring the earth and the planet. I think that's
seriously. Thank you so much, Radha.
Thank you
such
for
a pleasure. Love you.
Love you.
Thank you so much. Mwah.
Mwah.
If you like this episode of the LightStyle interview series, please share with your friends and family, and don't forget to hit subscribe.